Hello, folks. Donald Brooks, along with Miss Von Burton. Again, I didn't finish my introduction.
See, and I can never get my word in because yours.
Okay, well, anyway, before I was rudely interrupted,
Okay.
I was trying to say my again, and before I could say again, you got in the way.
And I'm going to get in the way again.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, folks, serious subject. Week or two ago, President Biden was here in Austin, Texas. Did you know that, Miss Von Burton, that he was here in Austin?
Yeah, I was stuck in traffic.
Yeah, right, And he was here commemorating the 60th anniversary of the passing of the Civil Rights Act.
Really?
Yes, that's why he was here. He was the LBJ library, and he also made a wonderful speech. And in that speech, he also alluded to the Supreme Court and how crazy the court is. So the name of this Dawn Brooks show is 1964 Civil Rights Act to today's Supreme Court. Yep. Just to highlight a few of the things he said, he talked about the contributions that not only Lyndon Johnson made, who happened to be my favorite president of all time, and I think I've told y'all that, not only the contributions that Lyndon Johnson made, but other people. He couldn't have done it alone. He got a lot of like-minded people to pass the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Now, in addition to the Civil Rights Act of 1954, he also, what were those other acts that he, the Voting Rights Act and the Fair Housing Act. Now, a lot of young people might say, what do you mean fair housing? What do you mean voting rights? Black people did not have those. Black people did not have the access to fair housing. You'd walk up there, you could call on the telephone and use your best white voice. Can I come over and see an apartment? My name is James Schwarzkopf. I want to see one of your apartments. Oh yes, come on, we have a lot of openings. Then you go over there. Oh my God, you can see the look on their face. He's black. How am I going to tell him? I'm sorry, Mr. Schwarzkopf. As soon as you hung up, we rented the apartment out. Those kind of things happen. Lyndon Johnson, I'm telling you, Miss Von Burton, you one of these days when you're not busy, read everything you can on Lyndon Johnson. Everything. A great president. But he was here, and of course he passed the Civil Rights Act in 1964. And unfortunately, the Supreme Court has dismantled, with the help of the Republican Party, they've taken away a lot of things. Women's rights, they've taken away a lot of minorities' rights. So they're trying to tear it down. And if this Project 2025, which we're going to talk about on another Dawn Brooks show, is passed, if the Republicans get back in office, it's going to get worse. And I'm not trying to talk to scare anybody. I think I'm talking reality. So hopefully that won't happen. But he talked about the Supreme Court, and he has initiated legislation to combat this. Proposals, should I say. And one of his proposal is a constitutional amendment saying any former president could face prosecutions for crimes committed while in office. Any former president could face crimes. You know, the Supreme Court overturned that, said that a president has absolute power and they can be held accountable for crimes, which is totally ridiculous. That's one of his proposals. He has a proposal number 2 is in the Enforcement Code of Ethics, where Supreme Court justices, people call them Supreme Court justices. Well, the 6 people on the Supreme Court, there are 3 fair judges, but the other 6, I don't like to call them justices. I like to call them injustices. the Supreme Court 6 injustices on the Supreme, and 2 of them, our good friend Clarence Thomas and Alito have abused their office privileges. They've gotten gifts, trips, money, and things like that. And they have had their wives, what's his name? Well, both of them had their wives showing their favoritism for the Republican Party, turning the flag upside down in protest. His wife, Alito's wife, turned the flag upside down in protest of certain things. As Clarence Thomas, in protest of January 6th insurrection, saying that there was not an insurrection. And Clarence Thomas, good old Clarence Thomas, his wife has tried her best to take the government's away the government's side on what do you call that? On the January 6th thing. She tried to get, and not only that, to get the election overturned. You know that. She's one of these other people that said the election wasn't fair, that Biden didn't win, and she's been so vocal on that. To have those kind of stances, you should not be able to vote and or make your opinion known. It shouldn't count in something that has to do with that. You should not, and nothing's been done about it. And Biden is saying, no, we gotta do something about that. So he wants to make a constitutional amendment saying any former president could face prosecution for crimes committed while in office. Enforce the code of ethics. That's what he's trying to do. And also a third proposal, I don't know if I go along with this, but by the way, probably none of this will pass. What I don't want to say, that's a pessimistic view. But we have Republicans who are not going to vote for anything that's going to benefit anyone but themselves. But he wants to propose a term limit to Supreme Court. We're the only nation in history that that the Supreme Court justices are served forever. He proposed a term of 18 years, and every 2 years getting a new Supreme Court justice. So, as you know, President Biden has decided he's not going to run for re-election, but he's still working for the people. I love that man. He's still working for the people. And are you familiar with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? She's a Congress lady. She is very active, and she speaks out against all kind of injustices. And she's right with President Biden on this one. She has introduced legislation to impeach Clarence Thomas. It's about time somebody did something, and Judge Alito. So it probably won't pass. Not with these Republicans that are in Congress right now. But she's putting it in people's mind, the injustices that they have done. They are not impartial, and it's obvious. President Biden knows that. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez knows that, and they're speaking out about it. And I just want to say, a great achievement, the Civil Rights Act of 1964, 60 years ago, when the great Lyndon B. Johnson signed that Civil Rights Act. I remember it like it was yesterday. And one last thing I want to quote. This is something that President Biden said. The Constitution said all men are created equal. But in reality, so many Americans don't feel like we're all equal. They don't act like they're all equal. And President Biden said, we've never lived up to it, but because of people like Lyndon B. Johnson, we've never stopped fighting for it. Very profound. We've never lived up to all men are created equal, but with people like Lyndon Johnson and modern day people who care about right and justice, they haven't stopped fighting, and we don't need to stop fighting. Okay, folks, that's it. Ms. Von Burton, Let's come back and do this again soon, okay?
All right.
Yeah, I can see your enthusiasm. Bye-bye.
Bye.